welcome to today's video. It is my third and final Halloween look of the year, and I'm going to start it by doing a regular face of full glam. Now, if you've been following along, you know the deal, but if you are new here, every year I do 3 different looks for Halloween. I do one easy one that anyone can do that just want to be a part of the festivities. And for that this year, I did a fun graphic eyeliner look with little chains. I then do a fun look more geared toward a Halloween party. And for that this year, I did my natural unnatural skin tone challenge and I turned myself pink. And then the third one I do is something SFX based with stuff you already have at home to kind of show that SFX is fun, anyone can do it, and anyone can get a really good Halloween picture. Now the SFX I'm doing this year is I am simply going to douse myself in blood and get a few cool pictures out of that. Now I put off making fake blood for an SFX video for years because I thought it would be really difficult, you'd have to buy stuff, and all the advice I saw online didn't sound too great, but I tried it out and it didn't work. So there was a lot of troubleshooting that went into this, but I made the blood by first taking some water and coloring it with coffee for that rich, deep brown color, and then red food coloring to get the blood to be red. And I tried thickening that up with a cornstarch slurry, so I warmed up the water, added the cornstarch, mixed it, and let it cool down so that it would thicken up, but it didn't end up thickening enough. And cornstarch usually does work. I cook with it a lot, so I knew it would eventually thicken it up if I added enough, but I didn't want to go through the process of heating it up again and letting it cool down again, so I ended up just adding a bunch of flour to it until I got it to be the consistency I wanted to be, and then went back in until I was happy with the color. The 3 things I ended up using for the color is number 1, red food coloring, number 2, blue food coloring for a little bit of depth, and number 3, soy sauce. I didn't have to worry about trying to get it to dissolve, and it was quite potent in its color. And while this all smells very interesting, it is somewhat safe to get into your mouth. I wouldn't say you should eat raw flour, but I'm not concerned about getting it on my face and near my mouth. But unfortunately, I can't really give you any measurements because I kept adding a bit more as I was fine-tuning it to what I wanted to be, but it turned out a lot better than I expected, so I'm really excited to get to that part of the look. But for the look, I do want to have a nice smoky eyeshadow look, which is something I tend to do for SFX looks so that you can immediately tell it's fake. Yes, I'm trying to get the blood to look as realistic as possible, but if I post a picture of myself full of blood, you might have some questions, but if you can see I'm full glam, you're gonna know this is kind of a costume and not actually a tragedy that I'm posting about. Because I have had people be confused about that before, which I must say is quite flattering, but nonetheless. The other benefit of doing a full face of makeup is then I have a layer of primer, foundation, and setting powder between my skin and the blood, and that's just going to help in case the blood stains, that it doesn't stain that much on my face. Rather be safe than sorry, so I am going to put makeup on my face just to create that barrier and then douse myself in some blood. So for the full face of makeup, I'm just doing my regular thing. I am liberally applying some primer all over my face and following that up with a nice solid layer of foundation. I'm highlighting underneath my eyes with concealer and adding my cream blush to my cheeks before I set my face in some powder. Once I worked in the powder, I went in and contoured my face, so I contoured the peripheries of my face as well as my lips. I am going in a bit heavy with the blush and the contour because the red blood I'm going to have on my face is really going to distract from what I have going on underneath. The same does apply for the highlighter because I did go in a bit heavier with the highlight than I usually would. And then I just filled in my brows the way I normally would. They're not the focus of this look. Now for the eyes, I do want them to be dark and to stand out, so I'm going to start by tightlining my eyes. And once I've done that, I am going to use the trick I've used for every other look so far, and I'm going to take a little bit of black eyeshadow on the eyeliner brush, and I'm going to stamp it right on the edge of the waterline to get the black to bleed out of my waterline so that I can blend it out and give my eye a smoky look. But this time I'm doing it on my lower lid as well as on my upper lid, and then I'm taking a clean small brush and smudging it until it has fully blended out. And I first just went back and forth on my upper lash line before doing small circular motions all the way until I felt it was blended enough. And without adding any extra product, with just the blending, this is what it looks like after blending, and this is what it looks like beforehand. So yes, it looks messy while you're doing it, but it does turn out pretty cute. Now I'm happy with that blend for the eyeshadow, so next I'm going to go in with eyeliner, and I'm going to use it to accentuate the inner corners, make them a little bit more defined. And I'm going to line the top of my lid so that when I stick on lashes, there isn't any like gray or anything showing through in case I don't get them on perfectly. I am leaving the lashes for last though, so even though I'm going to curl my lashes and put on mascara now, I'm only going to stick on my false lashes at the very end. So the next thing I'm going to do is my lips. Now I don't want to do the lips too bold because I already have a bold eye and I'm going to have all the blood, but I don't want my my lips to disappear, kind of like concealer lips would, so I'm gonna go with something in the pinky nude direction. So I'm gonna start by just lining my lips with my usual lip liner, and then you know the deal, fiddle around with the colors I have until I'm happy with how it ends up. I did, however, decide to overline my lips, and then I filled them in with a pink lip liner and added a touch of a coral toned lipstick on top of that. So it's finally time for lashes. I'm gonna pop them on in a second, but I'm not gonna get changed. I'm currently wearing a swimsuit so that I don't stain any of my clothes and so that I can easily wash this to get the fake blood out of it. And for my hair, I wanna drag some fake blood through my hair, so I'm also just going to untie it before then. But the one thing I am going to do is I am going to wash all the makeup off of my hand so that if I have a bloody hand as a part of the picture, you don't see the random makeup on it. But I'm very excited. Let's go see what the blood looks like. I got some blood here that I'm gonna get all up on my face and my hair. So let's start with the hair. I kind of want to look a mess, like I dragged my hands full of blood through my hair. But I think it's gonna help if I just get my hair a little wet first and maybe tie it up a bit. But also kind of like the vibe of it down. So we're going to see. I'm gonna start by spraying a bunch of water in my hair. So it already looks wet and like it's saturated without me actually putting that much blood in my hair. I could just go stick my head under a tap right now, but I don't quite want it that wet. Now, what I've learned through the years with Halloween is you don't want to just focus on the hair up top, you want to focus on the hair that you see around your neck. So I'm also spraying whatever you can see here behind my ears. And now for the blood. I have my swimsuit on, it can make a mess, but I'm gonna have paper towels ready because it's probably gonna drip everywhere. And speaking of everywhere, my lighting's all over the place because clouds are coming in and out. But I'm dipping my hand in the blood, and this is the consistency we're working with. This is what I got it to be, and I like the way it drips. So I'm going to get it on my hand and then just drag my hand through my hair. Now it looks good and sticky. And I'm trying my best to get this to not drip all over the place, but I've resigned to the fact that I'm going to mop after this. Pushing my hair back for now, but I actually think I want like it to look sticky and a little in my face. So some pieces should come out. Oh, that is the texture I'm looking for. Yeah. Now it's time to just get creative. So this hand, I have now dripped in some blood, and I am going to give myself a handprint on the side of my face. Can't quite see the hand, but I do like the blood down the side of my face. I'm going to lean over my bowl, and I'm going to drip it from my hair and down my face. I do like the way it looks on the ear. That's very nice. I also want it to drip straight down my face. I'm going to lean my head forward. It's ticklish, but I like that. I want more blood in my hairline, but I don't quite want it to run straight into my eyes. Yo, my mouth looks bad. I am having fun. But I'm going to try and get it up more in my hairline here. Kind of looks like I have a head injury now, but I'm okay with that. I just want there to be a lot of blood. Now, usually it helps to have a bit of a narrative going if you're doing something with blood, like why is the blood where it is? But I'm just generally going with a lot of blood has dripped on me. So everything is a drip. I don't have too many smears or smudges. Oh yeah, a nice wet bloody piece of hair. That is doing it for me. It is a bloody mess down on the front of me. My table is a mess. My table is white, so let's hope this doesn't stain. But it does seem to be wiping off fine. And if it does stain, it's a fun memory. If I like a line, I take a bit on my finger and feed it a little bit so it drips down more. Like that one. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a good one. This feels like Carrie, that horror movie where she gets like doused in blood. This is what this feels like to me. But then this is the final result. I feel like I look positively bloody and I really like the way it turned out. And I also have a lot of blood left. I did not need to make 500 mils of blood, but that means I got a lot left that I can go douse on my husband. I can pour it through my hair. I'm pretty excited. I'm very happy. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope I've answered some of your questions about is it hard to make blood and is it hard to work with? It was easier than I thought it would be. I feel like you just have to do it the first time, try it out, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get how it works. This also shouldn't stain, but I will let you know here if it did stain. But then that's all I have for you today. I'm gonna take some wonderfully terrific pictures, and I look forward to seeing you again next time with something positively not spooky. Bye!